Hi everybody, and welcome to Camp Like a Girl. Today we're going to be making easy and inexpensive spark catchers for fire starting. What's a spark catcher? Well, if you've ever tried to start a fire using flint and steel, you'll know that it's not very easy. We're going to show you today a way to create a fire starter using some petroleum jelly and cotton balls that starts almost every time, even in wet conditions. You'll need a few supplies, and of course the most important is some sort of flint and steel. I use, personally, the Strike Force. It's handy because it's an all-in-one. It has the flint and the steel, which is safer than using the back of your knife, especially if you're teaching Girl Scouts. On the other end, it has a compartment that holds the Strike Force fire starting cube, which works excellent, but are very expensive. And so I can create a few of these straw tubes filled with our fire catchers, and it'll last me an entire year. So you'll also need a pair of scissors, needle nose pliers, straws, big, small. These are ones that I just salvaged from when we've been out. Some toothpicks. I use a candle and kitchen matches rather than using a lighter because teaching younger girls to do this, it's easier if the fire is standard and they can reach into it versus holding it up near their fingers. You'll need some petroleum jelly and some cotton balls. And make sure those cotton balls are 100% pure cotton. Most of them are, even the ones from the dollar store, but just read that label to be sure. Let's go ahead and clear our space and get started. So you want to start by kind of spreading open a few cotton balls, get them prepared, and you actually use quite a bit of petroleum jelly. Really work it into the fibers, pull the fibers apart, and work it in there. You can start with a little bit, keep adding until it really kind of starts to clump together and it's fairly saturated. It's important to get as much in there as you can without getting it too gooey, because you want the fibers of the cotton to actually catch, and then the petroleum jelly to act as a kind of a long-term burning material and allow the cotton to burn for a little bit longer. So I'm going to just go ahead and do the rest of these up here and make a little pile for us so that we can go on to the next step. Now that we have our pile of cotton balls, we're going to go ahead and get rid of our petroleum jelly. And before we do the next step, our hands are covered with the petroleum jelly, so we need to go wash them. So now that I've washed my hands, they're all nice and dry and ready to go. We're ready to do the next step, which is to prepare our straws so that we can make little watertight compartments that will fit into our Strike Force end. Now, if you have a different container, you can make them whatever length you need, but I'm just going to kind of estimate here about how long I need to make these in order for them to fit inside the end of my striker. Here's an example of one that I did before. You could also use that to kind of estimate your length and cut. I'm just going to go ahead and cut up all of these, and then I'll show you the next step. Now we're ready to seal up our straws. You're going to need your candle, matches, and your needle nose pliers. I use the candle and matches because being a Girl Scout leader, I want to do it as safe as possible, but you could easily do this in any flame that you feel safe with. Of course, this is nice and convenient because the flame is right in the middle of my table that I'm working on. The step is to grab one end, pinch it, and then just very gently put it over or next to the fire. It doesn't take much to go ahead and seal the end. My focus is out there a little bit, but it basically crimps down the end of the straw and seals it to make a little container that we will be able to stick the saturated cotton into. Sometimes they don't close all the way, so you have to look at each one, and if it doesn't, just pinch it again with the needle nose and heat it up again just slightly, and it'll seal the ends. I'm going to go ahead and finish all of these, and then we'll start filling each little container. We're ready to go ahead and fill our straws now, so I'm going to remove the needle nose pliers, setting them on a surface because they're pretty warm now. And you'll notice that I'm keeping my matchsticks over here in the corner because we can use those for stuffing the straws as well as these toothpicks. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to take a little tiny bit of cotton and we'll put it inside each straw. And so we take a small amount, pull it apart, and using the toothpick, press it in. And the first few are really easy because your hands aren't all sticky yet. It progressively gets harder. You may have to stop and wash your hands. I'll sometimes even grab a cotton ball that doesn't have any on it and wipe them off. But you just continue to do that, only filling it about 2/3 full. As you can see, I have left the top open a bit so that I'll be able to seal it. I'm just going to go ahead and continue through these. Obviously, these bigger straws can hold a lot more. And one of these bigger straws is several fire starts. So I'll show you that at the end of the video. But for now, I'm just going to fill all of these little straw pouches we've made, and we'll show you the next step. So I ended up with a little bit of extra cotton that didn't fit into my straws, but this is great because I have an empty film canister here. I'll put the cotton in there, and I can throw this right in my backpack and use it with any kind of sparker. So I'm going to go wash my hands, and we'll come back to finish this up. Welcome back, guys. My battery died on my camera, but caught it in time. So I washed my hands, lit my candle, and we have a few more here that I haven't finished that I'll show you. Same method as creating the pouches. We just grab them with the needle nose pliers, put it into the heat, and seal that end up. Because there's a little bit of petroleum jelly and sometimes a few of the cotton fibers hanging out of the ends, be very careful because once in a while one of those will catch on fire and burn a little bit stronger. I found with the bigger straws that I did have to leave it in the heat a little bit longer, and then sometimes use the needle nose pliers to just kind of crimp down on the edge to ensure that it was fully sealed. And if it wasn't sealed completely, go right back into the candle heat and get those closed. And after we finish these last two here, I'm going to clean up my space and show you how this works in a little bit. So guys, here's my knife. A little overkill for this. I have a pocket knife for Girl Scouts, but this is my buck knife for hunting. Here's our straw. Here's my strike force, opened up and ready to go. So we're going to start by making a small cut in the straw. Watch your fingers and be very careful. It doesn't take much effort to get a little cut in there. And we only need a tiny little bit. As you can see, there's a ton left in that straw. We need to open it up, get those fibers kind of spread out, create more surface area for the spark to catch. I'm going to put away my knife here. Safety first, ladies. And close that up and set it aside. Now, what we always want to do is ensure that we test our sparker a couple of times beforehand. I'm going to go ahead and open up these fibers a little bit more and set them aside here. The more surface area you have, the better chance you are to catch flame. And so test my sparker, no problems there. And get really close. Strike one, strike two, and strike three. There we go, guys. That's how it's done. And as you can see, this is burning for quite some time. Plenty of time that you can get your tinder on there, get it caught, and then be able to move up to your kindling. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, and hit that bell for more videos to come. And we'll see you again on Camp Like a Girl.